What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sector for Nerds, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars Retro Discussions. Today I'm here to chat with you guys about Season 3, Episode 11, Pursuit of Peace. This episode was directed by Dwayne Dunham and written by Daniel Arkin. The cookie for this episode: truth can strike down the specter of fear. Before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Plenty of content coming your way every single week, you guys. You definitely don't want to miss out on any of it. And if this is your first time here, hi, hello, welcome to my channel. So if you guys missed last week's episode, very much recommend you guys check it out along with the rest of the series. But as for right now, intro guy, let us know what's going down, what happened last week, and what's going to be going down this week. Peace shuddered. Once promising negotiations between the Republic and the Separatists are now in shambles, following a droid suicide bombing on the capital city planet of Coruscant. As fear and anger prevail, the Senate overwhelmingly passes a bill to deregulate the banks, opening a gateway to additional troops and an increase in fighting. Thank you, intro guy. So, yeah, another Senate episode. But as I talked about last week, you guys, while I'm not usually a huge fan of Senate episodes, last week's episode I very much enjoyed, and this week's episode I very much enjoyed. And I think this week was even more about politics than last week. And it's all about this, speech that is going to be given to try and defeat this bill that's going on here. But the Senate opens up this episode like everybody is panicked because of the attack that happened last week on Coruscant. I say last week, I'm talking about last week's episode. For them, it was last night. Padmé gets out there quickly and she's trying to reason with the Senate to be like, look, guys, whoever did this attack wants us to continue the fight. Like, it's basically the way to destroy the whole peace thing, which the Senate very much oblivious to. They're just like, no, we gotta fight. We cannot show weakness. It's like, bro, calm the down. We get a transmission from Count Dooku, who says that Republic forces let out a barbaric attack against the Separatist people, and among those deaths was the very leader of the peace proposal, Senator Nina Bonteri. What did I tell you guys last week? Like, you just knew that this woman was going to die. No mention of her son, though, just her. During this transmission as well, we see several people, like we see Senator Anaconda Farr, Senator Dici, people that are supposed to be dead. So now I'm in, like, visible confusion mode, because it's like, well, wait a second. We're in new animated form here, with like Ahsoka at 16 and Anakin looking a bit older, and he's got the Jedi attire. Everybody's supposed to look different, but wait, now you're telling us that this is also a prequel episode to the episode that we get in season 2 where Anaconda Farr dies? There was all sorts of confusion back then. Just tell the damn story in order! It's the one thing that I really don't like about this show when it does this. We're introduced to this woman, well, this random woman named Tekla. Like, Padmé just hands her something and is just like, thank you, Tekla. I'm like, well, who's that? Why is she important? Oh, just wait. I love how they keep talking about, like, oh, the Republic's in debt. We can't afford to pay all this stuff. And then Anaconda Farr making the joke, like, we can't afford ammunition, remember? Like, I thought that was funny as shit. And Padmé's like, you owe me for saying such a bad joke. I'm like, I thought it was funny. But unfortunately for Farr, he ends up getting beat up by the bounty hunters after they have a meeting with Banking Clan. You know, they're raising up their stuff 25% interest. But Farr gets attacked. Padmé's failing to get support. Lolo's here too. But we find out, the people that are attacking the senators, that one I don't know. But this one, I know. This is one of the bounty hunters that was with Cad Bane when he took over the Senate. Very, very interesting. They're having a chat with Count Dooku, and he's like, take her out of the game, referring to Padmé. Padmé spends this entire episode trying to get support. She fails to do so. She goes to this one Quarren senator who doesn't care about the clones. He's like, we created them for just a purpose. Bastard. You don't expect this guy to really, vote for them or anything, but then Padmé's like just pleading with him at this point. Is there anything we can do to change your mind? And he goes, where does Senator Organa stand with all of this? And Padmé goes, he's preparing to speak in front of the full Senate. And he's like, oh, okay. I'll listen and see what he has to say then. I do think it's cool, though, that Bail has that reputation, like that a lot of, senators respect him. But during all of this, Padmé ends up getting attacked by the same bounty hunters that attacked Farr. There's a little bit of like comedic moments throughout the chase or whatever, because like, the dude keeps ramming his head into stuff like just the poles on the platform or into a bunch of crates. Like it is very funny. But eventually, like the police get there and Padme's like, those bounty hunters were trying to kill me. I'm a senator. I demand that you arrest them. But they've already gotten away. And this part right here is where I feel like the episode really picks up because, Padme's sitting there like, man, what's happening to democracy? What's happening to our republic? And all of a sudden, this Tekla girl again comes by. She's basically trying to like pump up Padme a bit and trying to, support her through this. She's like, you understand the people, you care about us. She kind of goes away, but then Padme's like, wait, Tekla, how's your family doing? Like, how is the war impacting them? And it's like Padme's getting all these ideas of maybe to come up with like her own little speech or maybe stuff that she could give to Bail to talk about. But speaking of Bail, those same bounty hunters go after Senator Organa. Luckily, though, his guards show up in the nick of time, but unfortunately, they're not able to stop the bounty hunters from doing the damage to Bail because Bail tries to get away on a speeder and the guy shoots it. Luckily, that allows his guards to come in and arrest him, but the damage is already done. He can't do the speech. He tells Padme, you got to do it for me. And I will admit, at this point in the episode, back when I was watching this, back when I was, 10, 11 years old, I remember thinking like, yeah, man, there's like no way that this bill is going to get defeated. There's no way. Like everything bad keeps happening. It feels like all hope is lost. But then good old Tekla comes in again, this Tekla girl that we're just meeting for the first time in this episode. Padme's sitting there telling her uncle, I've been against this bill since day one. If I haven't been there, if these people haven't listened to me before, why would they listen to me now? She's like, because you understand the people. You understand what they're going through. Your people are waiting for you. And I'm like, okay, Padme's got to go in here with something in mind, right? Meanwhile, the Senate is getting ready to vote on this bill, and it's most likely not going to go Padme's way. By the way, for this bill, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, is a bill passed by Senator Bertoni of Camino to fund the Republic an additional 5 million clone troopers for the war, which apparently the Separatists have already put out a loan for 3 million battle droids. But I mean, when those things are kind of cheap as all get up, I'm sure it's not that hard to purchase that many of them. So everybody's sitting there like, all right, we got to do this bill now. Senator Organa's nowhere to be found, and Padme goes in and is like, I will speak on his behalf, in which Masamita allows her to speak. And then all of the sudden, Padme gives this really passionate speech that gets everyone applauding by the end of it, including me, who once again has never cared about all this Senate politics stuff. But by the end of this, even I was sat there like, okay, that was pretty cool. That was a cool moment for her. The shot that they show of Padme when she starts talking, and it like you see her like on the left side of the screen, and it kind of like you can see Tekla in the distance. But the way that moment was shot, I'm like, oh, Padme's about to start working here. We're in for something right now, guys. This is probably Catherine Tabor's best like scene in Star Wars. Like this is her best performance right here. Now, I would play it for you guys, but I have a gut feeling if I try to play the whole thing, I'm going to end up getting copyrighted for it. So I'm just going to end up speaking it. Not as well as Catherine does, but, I'll do my best. All right, here we go. Supreme Chancellor, delegates of the Senate, a tragedy has occurred. We've started right here with the taxation of trade routes, which has engulfed our planet in the oppression of the Trade Federation. Oh, wait, hold on. Wrong. I must have gotten mixed up in there. Hold on. Let me find the right one. Okay, here we go. Tekla Mino. Tekla is one of my aides. Like so many of the people that we tell ourselves we're here to serve, Tekla lives in a district that rarely has electricity and running water as a result of the war. Her children can now only bathe every 2 weeks, and they have no light in which to read or study at night. The Republic has always funded these basic services, but now there are those who would divert that money to the war with no thought for what the people need to survive. If not for people like Tekla and her children, who are we fighting for? My people, your people, all of our people. This war is meant to save them from suffering, not increase it. I support our brave soldiers, whether they come from the clone factories or any of the thousands of systems loyal to the Republic. But if we continue to impoverish our people, it is not on the battlefield where Dooku will defeat us, but in our own homes. Therefore, it is our duty and our responsibility to preserve the lives of those around us by defeating this bill. Incredible. They even had people like, Dichi clapping, and they had that Corn senator in there clapping for her. This was very well done. And you think to yourself, oh man, what a great way to end this episode. It looks like Padme's got everything under control, man. Like, this is great. Happy ending. Oh, but there's just one more thing. They cut to Palpatine's office. Oh, this was so good. And Palpatine says, isn't it remarkable that one can have all the power in the universe, but yet the words of a single senator can influence millions? I love it that that's Palpatine's mindset. He thinks, I've got all the cards in my hands. Everything is going according to my plan. I've got the universe in the palm of my hands. He cannot fathom the fact that the words of one senator can have more influence than he can. It's such the Sith way of thinking. And Masamita goes, what do you propose we do about this? And Palpatine goes, well, for now, we must adhere to the principles of our democracy. We must let the wheels of the Senate turn. End of episode. I am very curious, you guys, if there is anyone out there that, let's just say, watched Clone Wars first and didn't know anything about Palpatine or his intentions, let's just say. What were your thoughts of this scene? Now, I'm sure most people, obviously know who Palpatine is and everything that he was, bound to do. But I just find it so interesting because the Clone Wars, they never directly say, hey, Palpatine is the Sith Lord. But this to me was like the first scene where it's definitely implied that Palpatine is not as good as you might think that he is just based on what you see in the first two seasons. This for me was like the first real, hey, like this guy's up to something. And yeah, sure, like you'll have moments of him just like doing that evil smile throughout, certain episodes and things like that when things happen. But even in this episode, he does that. But this was really the first time where they really like tackled deep into Palpatine's character and sort of what's going through his mind. I love this so much. Like I said, of the Senate episodes, this one and the last one, my two favorites. I do believe that is going to wrap up all my thoughts on this episode, you guys. I don't think I have too much more to say, except for, you guys, next week, we are going to kick things into a whole nother stratosphere when it comes to this show. If there was ever a time to get on board with this show and to make sure you are staying tuned every single Monday, it is right now. Next week, we kick Clone Wars into a higher gear with Clone Wars Season 3, Episode 12, Night Sisters. You don't want to miss it. From this moment on to the rest of Season 3, unbelievable content that we are about to get when it comes to this show. And then from there, we go even further. I cannot wait, and I hope you guys are going to be there for the ride. For now, you guys, that is going to wrap us up for today. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.
What sorcery is this? I do not need my eyes to see you, Jedi.